I mean, it was a huge shock to hear that, Steph and Nick were going to leave. That was, I only heard that a couple of weeks ago. But I wish them all the best, good on them. It's great. I mean, I think it's, we would have enjoyed going to battle with Channel 7. The content would have won. The viewers would have... It would have been a win for Australian gamers, I think.
Two shows on TV.
Two shows about taking games seriously. Win, 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 right?
Yeah.
And then we spent quite a lot of time thinking about what we could do. And then, the news came down from management that actually they didn't want to go ahead with Good Game for this year.
Now, of course, it should be noted that Good Game's Spawn Point, the really much-loved kids version of the show, will be continuing on the ABC, on ABC Me.
Yes.
So there's that.
It is, and in all of its glory, and in fact probably bigger and better. So that is very good news. I mean, we know that 95% of Australian kids call themselves gamers.
95?
95%.
95?
Yeah. I mean, 90% of Australian homes, in fact it's probably even higher than that now, actually have a gaming device. I mean, if you count your mobile as a gaming device, I reckon it's got to be close to almost 100%, right? But yeah, I mean, gaming isn't going anywhere. ABC Me now, sorry, correction there. Recognise that, and so I am delighted for the team and for the ABC, and particularly for the viewers, that will continue.
You'd actually stepped away from executive producing Good Game last year.
But yeah, I made the decision to step away. I didn't want to be that kind of logjam at the top, if you like. Nothing could ever change because Janet was there, and this is the way you did everything. The show is in such a great position. We had a new EP, someone who you know very well.
I do.
Absolutely brilliant. The team were ready to fly. They had loads of really, really great ideas with a new format. I had a huge farewell. Everyone was delighted. It was great. And then, to come back a few weeks later and this to happen.
What was your first impressions of the very first show? Because at this point, you're on ABC2. Most people don't have digital TV. In essence, very few people are watching at that exact moment.
I was totally scared. I wasn't sure that it was going to work. We made it really on this less than a smell of an oily rag. It was...
You were shooting in a tiny closet?
Tiny little closet, tiny little studio that I'd found up on level 9 at the ABC. It wasn't really a real TV studio. Some people helped out with cameras. I mean, I was very lucky. I've been in the ABC a long time, and I did get some help from the people who actually knew how to operate cameras, but they weren't available to us all of the time. So we kind of cobbled this show together. And I remember when we first put it to air, we sat looking at the forums, because it kind of predates all the social media that is around today.
The good old ABC forums.
Exactly. And then the forums just went nuts. And I think we were the most downloaded show at the end of that year. But I do remember a very senior executive coming down sort of saying, I think your figures are overstated, almost like accusing us of, somehow hacking the system and inflating our figures.
We can play Assassin's Creed. We can't hack the system.
No, exactly. And then it kind of got, okay, now we're in a serious TV division, and we better make it like a proper TV show.
Yeah.
And we got, a big injection of people, which was really, really exciting. They were great times.
One of the great impacts of Good Game has been really actively fostering, partly through the recruitment of Hex, but also the people you would hire on the show, of getting more women on screen, getting more women producers, getting more women involved in the conversation, and young girls around gaming who were largely sort of ejected from the image of a gamer prior to that.
It totally was something that I always wanted to do on the show from the very beginning. It's just, you always hit that thing where you go looking for presenters and you end up going with the very best person for the job, right? And I know that when Kapowski left and Barjo joined the show, at that point we did a big call out, anyone in the country who thinks they can talk seriously about games, we want to hear from you. And in that moment I was like, a woman. I really want a woman. And then Barjo came along, and he was just so brilliant. That's the way it went. But this all goes back to sort of 2010, really. But don't forget, we had Spawn Point coming into the mix, and we were going to have this extra program. So that was a real opportunity for us to bring a woman in, and we had met Steph. I'd met Steph much, much, much earlier in that year, in April, in fact, and knew that I wanted her to be part of the Good Game family. It all got a bit confused with the whole Junglist leaving, because those two things were actually completely separate.
Yeah.
And then he did leave, and then she became the host of the main show. But I think, as far as your team is concerned, it is vitally important, not just to have women, to have people from all sorts of backgrounds, different stories. The better the stories, the more diverse the stories you can bring into your production, the better your production is going to be. And, you know, for me, my great joy has always been working with young people and enabling them to do the very best work that they can.
What do you think the greatest legacy of Good Game will be?
I think the greatest legacy will be that the ABC would have been seen to have been forward-thinking for its day.
And what do you think it says that it no longer exists?
I think it says a couple of things. I think it says that the ABC, and I get this, with my ABC hat on, you have a limited amount of money and an increasingly limited amount of money. And if you keep continuing to make all the shows, you don't have any money left to make anything new. And there is a big push to make new things. I have that inside me. I want to, you know, be able to create new content as well. I think the ABC potentially saw this as a good time that, you know, that maybe resources can be diverted into creating new content. Hopefully, my sincere hope is that they go, oh, you know what, let's make sure there's some gaming involved in whatever new content is coming down the track. Yeah. I think for gamers, I hope that they remember that the ABC was there for them.